If you have been waiting to take that step into a future that inspires you, this video is a sign that now is the time. It's so good to see you. It's good to be seen. Let's dive in. What would it really take to step into a future that truly inspires you? I see so many creatives, whether it's solopreneurs, one-person businesses, entrepreneurs, people that are artists, people that are dancers, all of these things where people know that they're leaving some of their expression on the table, yet they just feel one step away from that liberation of being fully surrendered into their gift giving to the world. If you're anything like me, you know exactly what that feels like, to be stuck sort of just one notch below the reality that you want to be living in. And today I just really want to speak a simple challenge to you to be able to step into that future, even if it's just 1 foot, so that you can get a taste for what it's like, attune to it, and live more of it. So literally just write down, what is a future that inspires you? If a future that inspires you is something as simple as, I want to have the time to create my best work. I'd love a small little barn. And I'd love to look out the window of my barn and see my future kids and wife playing in the yard, whatever it is. Or if it's like, I want to be running this collective of just artistic expression of artists around the world that are getting together, sharing their thoughts, their ideas, their projects, and collaborating and building something bigger than just ourselves. Great, amazing, hold that to heart. Now, instead of keeping our future and our dreams as a fantasy, as something that exists out there, the practice is, how can I bring that to me right now? How can I be here with my dream and fantasy? And I'm holding my heart in my gut, because as a man I feel like that's sort of the core of where I create from, and what really makes things real and experienced is my body. For a woman too, but I can speak to as a man, like the core is how I create. It's where I create from. It's where I actually deal with the fear that is keeping me from that liberation. Because I can assure you that liberation is literally just one action away. That one action might lead to a cascading of different actions and consequences or whatever things that will unfold. Whether that's, I feel like I need to move, I need to leave a relationship, I need to go all into my business, I need to quit my job, whatever that thing is. There's always layers of actions and responses and reactions and things like that. But true liberation is always available to us. I mean, it's really an inside job, but we like to see it in the outer world, so that's why I say it's one action away from helping us get more just radically expressed. Because so often it's really just a belief that's holding us back from taking that little action. It's just an idea that we have for ourselves. One of my favorite teachers, Peter Crone, says, the you that you are for yourself, that is the limitation. And that you that you are for yourself is something that you're constantly choosing. I'll make it personal. I constantly choose to be that version of me for myself, most of the time unconsciously. And it's not until we can really shine a light on what is a future that inspires me and what's really stopping me from taking a step into that all of a sudden we access this world of energy, of potential, of connection to all of me, not just the fantasy that's in the mind about what the future is going to look like, but how does that feel in my body, and what's the real work that it's going to take to do that? Because once I can separate from just letting this thing be this kind of amorphous blob of a fantasy that's off in the future, I can be in my body and take the step that's required of me. Life tends to speak in a very abstract but clear way. And what I mean by this is life will make evident at first through small nuance and working up to more and more sort of abrasiveness to like your consciousness of, hey, do this. It starts off as a whisper, and then at some point it might be like a slap across the face, or If you're like me, going through so much at once, it's been a cosmic 4x6. Just like God and life just smacked you up the head, and everything that you thought you were living for is now changing form. Now, you don't have to wait until that moment to really step into a future that inspires you. But the thing is, life can only give you one step at a time. We can't have it all figured out. Now, as a man, and as anyone that can connect to the masculine, we love to plan and structure. And we need to do that because it helps us be in our flow, but we have to surrender that, like, I can plan all I want, but all that really I can create like a relationship. I don't want to say control, I wanted to say control, but all I can do is create the most aligned and healthy relationship to the thing that I need to do right now, in the way that I need to be in order to do it. So life will show us the next thing, and we don't get the data for what's after that until we step through that doorway, and then the next doorway, and then the next doorway. And it's like life is a series of opportunities, challenges, and tests for us to constantly refine that trust, that muscle building of stepping into a future that inspires you. And it's paradoxical because you're not stepping into a future, you're really stepping into and creating a present. And that's the biggest limitation for so many artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, is we want to step into a future that's way out there and we expect to one day get there. And you might, but what's much more empowering is, how can I just be that now, and what's one way I can feel connected to that right here, right now? What's the thing I need to do? If it's finally, if you're at the stage of your journey where it's like, it's finally me buying my name, my domain name for my website, or whether it's you finally saying, you know what, I'm gonna ramp up my marketing. I feel like I haven't, for me personally, I relied so much on word of mouth. And I thought that was all cool and it felt good, but I didn't realize how much I was short selling myself and my community and the world by not marketing what I have to offer. And this was in the sense of marketing my design and fabrication services, but this can also be, you know, marketing yourself as a writer. I love writing, so that came up, you know, telling people about your newsletter, making content about that, whatever that is. There's usually something that you need to do that you're avoiding doing. And I encourage you that if you step into that and liberate yourself from the beliefs and the story that you're creating about yourself that is keeping you from doing that action, you step into a whole new world of possibility. You become magnetic. You're gonna be met with resistance for sure, but you're showing yourself that I will no longer settle for this old idea of how life should be. I'm in charge of taking the power and creating, right? I'm creating my relationship to life. I'm creating my life. Side note, parentheses, I like to believe that it's a co-creation because there's so much more that's happening around me that I can't see. But really taking the responsibility, right? You're not a victim, you know, you stop blaming. If you're blaming your job, your family, I don't have enough time, or like my partner this and that, all of those things, great, and they might be valid. But is that empowering for you to give your energy away? And I'm not saying it's easy to take responsibility, but what I am encouraging you to is, if you seek liberation in your creative expression and living an exceptional life and creating a future that actually inspires you and that your children will be like, holy shit, mom, holy shit, dad, you fucking did it. It's going to take you stepping beyond the veil of that fear, stepping into a new idea of yourself and seeing what happens. And that liberation will liberate the people around you, and it creates a whole new identity, idea of self, a way of being in the world. That is so juicy and so magnetic. So whatever it is, there's probably one thing in your life that life is showing you, hey, do this. Or maybe you just got smacked upside the head. Now's still the time. You know, there's that famous Japanese proverb, is that the best time to plant a tree, well, that was 20 years ago. But the second best time is right now. So if you're watching this right now, is the best time to show to yourself that you are ready to step into a new reality, create a life that inspires you. Because it's your responsibility and no one else is going to do it for you. So that's my prayer and my hope for y'all. Thanks for joining. Yeehaw.